So what do we need for it?
Pepper, salt.
Pepper, salt, nope. We need flour, filtered water, and a jar. Yeah. So I'm gonna do this in the US measurements, and we don't use a food scale because a lot of people, we're using that. A lot of people don't have that stuff accessible to them, and I don't want you to go out and buy anything for this. So we're just gonna use.
No, go and see it, and then you flip it over. You will not see it when.
You have to hold it up to be able to see it in the camera, right? All right, so let's get our flour.
Yeah. Okay, you can make dough with flour.
Hold it up. See, this is our flour.
Do you have flour? Okay. Make dough with flour. I'm going to be right back, Mommy.
Okay. He'll be right back. My assistant is kind of unreliable. So you're going to start with water or flour and some filtered water. If you don't have filtered water, this is what you do. The night before you're going to do this, leave a cup of water out on the counter and the chlorine will dissipate. So there you go. It'll be not filtered, but chlorine kills yeast. So that's what we don't want. So I'm going to use the US measurements because everything that I've seen is in grams about starters, and everyone had all this fancy equipment. So I wanted to master it in a way where I could do things by sight and by feel, and you know, how does the texture feel. So 1 cup of flour and 1/2 cup of filtered water is what we're going to start with. And that makes a perfect starter. I'm going to mix it up and show you what it looks like in the in the jar. Actually, we're going to use a bigger jar for this. This one has a little bit of a bigger mouth. So we're going to put the cup of flour. Let me do this over the sink. Okay, so we have our flour in there, and we're going to get something to stir with.
Yeah.
I like to use this reusable smoothie straw to stir because it's really, really stiff. Wait, we didn't put the water yet. All right, so now we're gonna put 1/2 cup of water.
Mine.
You can't pour it, but you can pour it in.
This is fun.
Whoa!
Whoa.
So we poured that in.
Mix it.
Now we're gonna mix it up. You wanna keep a loose cover on this, and you're gonna keep it in a cabinet or in a warm, dry spot, dark spot for
More water.
about 36 hours. And I'm gonna post a picture.
Mommy. More water.
Do you think we need more water?
Yeah.
You know what? I think you might be right.
Yeah.
So when I said that I wanted to learn to do things by texture, what I mean is you're going to...
Flour to make water with that, and we mix it all with a jar.
We did. Hang on a second. So this is not really a good texture. It needs to be a little bit looser. So we're going to add a drop more of our water. Hang on. Nope, we don't need that. And we're going to mix it together. So now this is a lot better texture.
Yeah. There's texture. Need some milk.
What that looks like. It's thicker than cake batter, but not as thick as dough, for reference. This is what it looks like. That's the great consistency. Now, you're gonna leave this alone, like I said, for 24 to 36 hours, and you're gonna wait until you get some activity on top. I'll show you a picture of what that looks like. But you're gonna continue that. So after 36 hours, you're gonna feed your starter for the first time. And I have a whole video on how I feed my starters, and you can check that out. But basically you're removing all but 1/2 a cup of this, and then you're going to replace equal parts water and flour every time to feed it. So I want to show you what a mature starter looks like.
Yeah. Guys. Yeah. I'll get
Now,
them.
this one I keep in my fridge because it is fully fed, and that's what the activity looks like on top. Okay, so what I was trying to say before my overeager sous chef kept commenting that he wanted to make more and more starters is after the 36 hours, you're gonna start feeding it every single day. After 4 days, you're gonna start feeding it twice a day. After 7 days, you're gonna try and test it. I also, in my Feed Your Starter video, I show how to test it. You just take a little scoop in some cold water. If it floats, it's ready. And then after that, you can keep it in the fridge. That slows down the fermentation process so that you don't have to feed it as frequently. But what you're doing is you're breeding a live colony of bacteria, of yeast, and that's what's gonna be used to leaven the bread. And I'll also post a picture of my first sourdough loaf that I was able to make. And I have no equipment, no scale, no nothing. I feel like this is an art that you really need to feel and touch and smell and use your senses to see if it's ready. So this won't get much bigger overnight, but by day 3 or 4, you're gonna start seeing it double in size, and that's how you know it's getting ready to be able to leaven bread. So flour, water, pick a flour with a high protein content. Do not use bleached flour. Don't use water straight from your tap. Like I said, if you don't have filtered water, you can just easily leave a cup of water out over on the counter and the chlorine will dissipate. But that's it. That's my starter and that's my trick. And I honestly think I have a better starter not using all of that equipment. I don't switch out the jar to a clean jar every day. It's kind of counterproductive. You want that bacteria to grow. And I'm gonna add some pictures of what the starters look like on different days. But good luck and happy baking.